Hi, everyone. Here is my disclaimer. Any information discussed in this interview may not represent those of the station or host. Please consult your primary care physician for any advice regarding your health, physical and or mental health. Hi, everyone. Again, this is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, where our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. Folks, you're going to want to listen to my show. I think you should listen to all my shows because I have phenomenal guests. And today, I feel that my guest today is extra phenomenal because I just love her. She is my friend. She is a sweetheart. She is just a great person. My friend Tina Ginn is host of Your Backup Plan podcast, Talking Taboo, which is on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you don't know about that podcast, I suggest you find it because Tina has great guests, great information. Tina is also CEO of Your Backup Plan app and the emerging Blueprint platform, and soon to be Caregiver Rescue App, which we're going to talk about, which will be out on January 1st, 2023. And Tina Ginn is a financial expert, emergency preparedness coach, and best-selling author in the blink of an eye. And I want to welcome my friend, fellow podcaster, talk show host, and great all-around person, Tina Ginn. Welcome, Tina.
Oh, thank you so much, Betsy. That's beautiful. I listen to that and say, who is that person? She sounds wonderful.
Oh, you are wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
I watch your, show, especially if I recommended someone to you. I always watch, and I'm like, wow. And folks, I've been on Tina's show myself. And, people sometimes think, and I'm sure you might get this, Tina, well, why are you promoting someone else's show on your show? Well, why not? I think we should, and I would love to see more people, promote each other and help each other out, support each other. Like, why wouldn't I recommend a guest to you? Why wouldn't I share the show, which reminds me, I have to share your show yesterday.
Oh.
I had to figure out how to do it.
Oh,
I want to share it.
I think we
group.
should be sharing books, and we should be sharing all sorts of. We share TV shows, we share movies.
Yes.
So absolutely.
Yes.
When it comes dear to our hearts, I mean, it's just natural to share what we love.
Yes. Yes, I mean, when we withhold information, I tell this to my audience all the time, and it's the Jersey girl in me, and I'm my father's daughter, so I'm very abrupt. Sometimes don't use too much tact, but when we withhold valuable information from other people that could help them, to me that's selfish. So I encourage people, share information that can help someone. This is why I tell people, share my show because it can help someone. Not for me to be famous. I don't care about that. I care, this is my mission and vision, has and will always be to help other people, just like that's your mission, Tina. And you are, you haven't been on in probably over a year. So can you refresh people's memory and tell them about your Backup Plan app? Because, folks, I'm telling you, you see how the world is today. You don't know what can happen. And like your book, in the blink of an eye, yes, things change exactly like that, in the blink of an eye. So please tell about your Backup Plan.
That way, but it sure does.
Yes.
It sure does. I started for anybody. Well, thank you for having me on your show to start with. Thank you, Betsy.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Really, really appreciate it. And I look at every opportunity as an opportunity to put my information out there to help somebody. If I can help one person every time, that's my goal. And so I created your backup plan after my girlfriend actually went into the hospital for tests. She had a cough, and it was around April, Easter time. And she had just turned 60, and her husband had called me and said, can you pick up Carol? When she's finished with the tests, I have to go back to the store. And they both ran a little dollar store in a small town. And I said, sure, just give me a shout. He called me much later in the day, and he said that she won't be coming home. She has to stay in for more tests. So I said, okay, well, just let me know. And he proceeded to call me the next day and tell me that she won't be coming home. She has to stay in for tests because she has stage 4 lung cancer. And that was just devastating to me, and of course to everybody. But they gave her radiation and chemo, and I would go and visit her every week, a couple times a week, just to take her out on the patio or just talk, bring her some nice cup of tea instead of the dishwater hospital tea that they have.
Yeah.
and so I was amazed and shocked by going up in the elevator each time, because it's like going in a dentist office or anything. The smells kind of whiff by you, and you get this current of this hospital smell. And you have on top of it on your mind is, I wonder how she's going to be today. I wonder what she's going to look like today. And it's scary. And you don't know if you really want to go or not go, to be honest, because the progression is so enormous. The radiation just takes every little ounce out of the person. And before you know it, she was on oxygen and not being able to talk. It seemed like it went really quick, and it just progressively got worse. And I had taken her out onto the patio one day, and she held my hand, and she turned to me and she said, Tina, I just want to see the blue sky. I just want to hear the birds, and I just want to feel the breeze on my face. And I thought, oh my God, is that all life is? And it is. It is, in a nutshell. So I took that information and thought, you know what? When you're dying, nobody cares about if you paid the bill. Nobody cares about if you gave the key to your mom. Nobody cares about all that stuff. All that you care about is getting better. So
yes,
that's what encouraged me to put it out there in so many shapes and forms. And in a podcast, you can really tell your story about how something has affected you and how that changed you in some shape or form. So, yeah, I always tear up. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Hey, this is real, folks. I tear up myself. We get emotional on this show, and that's okay. I get emotional myself at times, and you know what? I don't apologize for it anymore. It's who we are, and that's it. I'm getting too old to worry about what people think at this point. I'm out tearing up here in New Jersey. It's touching because, what do you say? You're visiting a dying friend. So, and people don't want to talk about death and dying and being prepared. So it's like, what do you say to someone who is dying? Because you know what? It's true, folks. I know this might sound cliche. When you're on your deathbed, nobody cares how much time they spent at the office. You know what they're probably thinking about? Well, I wish I spent more time with my family. You never see a hearse pulling your stuff to the gravesite, do you? It's left behind.
If my mom could, she would.
Yeah. Some people would, that's for sure. And that's why you should, do a backup plan. Where are your things? Where do you want them to go to? A charity? Who do you want to have your jewelry or your possessions? How are you going to split that up so people don't fight like they do, like a bunch of vultures? Because I'll tell you, folks, it happens. Yes, it happens in families. Someone's dying and the vultures come sweeping down and they want to start picking at the people's possessions, and they're not even cold yet. And then there's, family fights. No, Mom and Dad said I could have this. No, they said I could have it. So when it's written down, you can't argue about it. Well, you still might, but you have proof of what
makes it a bit
wishes
easier.
are. Yes. So your backup plan has all that in there, like we're living will and power of attorney, everything, and that's important, folks.
Yes, and even your medical. So you can even start just when you go to the doctor or have a doctor's visit, you can log that into the app and put a picture of the prescription with it so that you can look back in your medical history and say, I was on that prescription. I didn't like it, or the doctor told me to have this for 5 days, and I had no problem with that. Because we forget when our surgeries were. We forget, that we took that prescription. So that's also important.
Yes. I'm curious, Tina, do you have in your backup plan app for a section with medical history?
Yeah, so when you go to the doctor, you can start logging in when you're sitting there waiting to go in. You can type into the app under the medical section, I have an appointment, click appointment. And then you just type in, I have a runny nose and the allergy pills aren't working, whatever it might be. And then you come out of the doctor's office and you put in the doctor felt that I had a sinus infection and he's giving me these antibiotics, and take a picture of the antibiotic or the prescription that he gave you. And then and then that's logged for you, and you can go back in history.
That's a great idea. I'm curious about this. So in Canada, because Tina is in Canada, is your legal age also 18?
Yes.
And you know what? It is 18. Folks, what people don't realize, and I have said this on my show, and then I heard this on a business show that's on the major New York, New Jersey area, and I went, yay, she agrees with me. This big financial person. And they said, and I've been saying this ever since I've been doing my show, that when a child goes off to college, or even if they don't, if they're 18, you need to suggest to your child to go to a lawyer, get for them to assign power of attorney, medical, financial, and a living will, because they can always change it. But you want to tell your 18-year-old they need to have something so that you can be notified, that you would have a say, if they want you to have a say, in their medical health decision. Because what people, I think, don't understand, Tina, is when an adult child goes to an emergency room, they don't have to call the parent.
Right.
The parent doesn't have to know. And, we don't want the state to get involved to say whether, they should be on a respirator or not, or a ventilator.
Yes.
And, we don't think of these things normally.
Organ donation.
Or a donation, that's right, organ donation. That's right.
I had a client who had a son who was 24, and he had just gotten a new job, and he was still living at home, and he bought a new truck for himself, and he had a loan against it. And he did it all on his own, and his parents were thrilled to bits that he had a job and he's doing these wonderful things. And he was in a bad car accident and passed away. And they were responsible for his truck and the loan, and didn't have any idea where his social media accounts were, or his passwords, or anything. They knew where his bank account was because that's what they had set him up with, or as a teenager. But and he didn't really have any investments, but he had stuff still to look after. So it doesn't matter what age you are. I talk about that on my show. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter. Anything can happen tomorrow.
That's right. That's very true. Yes. My son, Josh, COVID really made me think about this. If God forbid Josh got sick, that I wanted to get power of attorney. Actually, I wanted to do it after Matt died, but then COVID happened and I couldn't go to the lawyer. And I went as soon as the offices opened up, and I explained to Josh, you need to do this so that I could have a say in your medical care. And you could have a say in your medical care of what you want at the end of life. And Josh was 36 at the time. So should I have done it when he was 18? Yeah, but you know what, folks? I didn't think about it back then when he was 18 because we didn't talk about those situations. There weren't shows. There wasn't people like Tina and myself and many others talking about end of life, talking about being prepared. You didn't hear about that 18 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago. Josh was 38.
For sure.
I forget.
You sure do.
Yeah.
And it's even hard now to talk about it because people don't, I don't know, unless they've been hit by it, it's just not something that you even want to think about. I talk about Superman. We all think we're Superman, especially men, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Think they
Immortal.
are Superman. Nothing's going to happen to them, so why are you asking me that question?
Right,
but
right.
It's unfortunate.
That's true.
Mike Tyson says everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
And that's why I made the app, because people don't know what you need to get prepared. You don't know all the things. You don't think about, well, they might need a key to get in, or they might need a key for the back shed because I'm the only one who puts it in the drawer. Nobody knows what you do regularly on a daily basis. You just do things automatically. So when someone comes in and you're stuck in the hospital in a coma, how does anybody know what bills need to be paid this week or next month? Just to keep the lights on and the mortgage people happy, or the renter, or whatever it might be, or your hydro.
Right.
So how does that happen if nobody knows? And I thought, well, I don't really want to give all my information to my sister, like lay it out in black and white. So that makes me uncomfortable. So I thought, I'm going to put it inside an app. And that way she only accesses it when she needs to, not because I gave it to her in a booklet and she put it in her drawer. And plus, people don't know what they need to get prepared. The documents you need and your emergency kit, what you should have in your emergency kit. Hurricanes and tornadoes. And, we have things every few weeks. Every few weeks or something.
Yeah.
A super bad car accident, storm or hurricane or tornado or, a condo collapse. Who would have ever guessed that would happen?
That's right.
In a million years. That a whole building just falls like that.
That's true.
And 100 people die.
Yeah. And then you have these crazy people that are punching people here in New York, like just sucker punching them. and they get critically ill or die from that.
Or stabbed.
And literally, or stabbed, literally in a blink. I'm telling you, I leave my house and I hope I come back in one piece because there's just the way the world is so crazy. And it is so important, Tina, to think about these things and to prepare. Don't wait for a disaster. And, you know, depending on your local area, if you have someone who has a disability or some kind of dementia, call your police department, sheriff's department, whatever you have in your area, and ask them. If they have a safe and sound program, might be called different names in different areas. Ask if you can register your loved one, because people who are registered get out first. The police will come to you first. And it's very important to be prepared, especially if you are caring for someone who has oxygen, who has dementia. Do you have their medicine ready? Do you have your important papers ready? These are things to think about.
But the problem is people don't know what to think about. They just know one or two things, right? And
True.
So that's why I thought, well, let's make it easy and lay it all out so that people just go down the list and say, okay, I'll do that this week. Okay, next week I'll do this section. And it makes it easy because it's all in there. I mean, from being prepared with insurance company, if something happened, to being in a coma, or losing your wallet. I've got you covered. You can put everything in there, even if you don't want to put the specifics, like a full copy of your will, so to speak, or that sort of thing. All you have to do is take a picture of the front cover and then a picture of where it's located, so that
that's a good idea.
Knows where to go and find it. Because it's all well and good to have the best investments. I talk about this all the time. Oh, I got this great investment. It makes 10% or 20%, and they're all stoked that it's just a great investment, and I'm going to make all this money. Well, what good is it that when you do die, that this great investment goes to the government or sits in an unclaimed account somewhere because nobody knew where it was? What is the purpose in that? That's the part that I talk about all the time and say it's part of the great investment, being prepared, so that you can pass that on to your wife, your spouse, your partner, your husband, your family, your neighbor, whoever it is. But
yes,
if nobody knows it's there, it just sits unclaimed. And it keeps building up every day in the United States and UK, in Canada, in Australia, in all the countries, billions and billions of dollars. Because nobody knew
shame. Yeah,
that Aunt Sally had an insurance policy that she paid for, but nobody knew how to claim it. Or Aunt Sally had a funeral arrangement, but nobody knew where she did it. Or Aunt Sally had great investments. Nobody knew where they were. So,
and that happens.
All great. Yeah, it's all great to know or to have it, but if you don't know where the stuff is. I also had a client who did a will on his own, just one you buy at the bookstore. And he did it, which was great. He was in his early 40s, and he had a heart attack and died. And the family, he had written in this will that his two nephews would get everything. And his family had come in, 2 brothers and a sister, who he didn't want to have anything. Came in, found the will after searching high and low for this thing, and ripped it up.
Oh, my goodness.
because then they would get everything. Your closest, if you don't have a spouse or partner, then it goes down to you have your children, and your brothers and sisters are next. So it's not registered will, so it's all fine and dandy, or maybe you've done one and nobody knows where to find it. So it's all of these things that I thought, let's make it simple. Nobody needs to argue, nobody needs to fight, and put it all in one place so when the time comes to need it, whether it's yourself, because I know losing a purse is even drastic, or losing your wallet. And has anybody ever taken a picture of what's in your wallet so that you remember, oh, I had that card. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. So it's
those
all
are
of
good
these
ideas.
Things. Yeah. We do workshops
great
on
ideas.
that.
Tina, I want to talk about your new app coming out, which is phenomenal. Before we run out of time goes by so fast when I talk to everyone.
I know.
Caregiver Rescue. Folks, I'm telling you, if you're not a caregiver already, chances are you're going to be. Let's face it. Baby boomers, I'm one of them, we're aging. And we're not getting any younger. And even young people are being caregivers. My son was a caregiver at the age of 25, 26 for his dad. So, Tina, I want to hear about your Caregiver Rescue. And we're going to, and the information, folks, will be in the blog, how you can get in touch with Tina to have your backup plan or Caregiver Rescue, which was coming out January 1st, or both. So I want to hear about your Caregiver Rescue plan, Tina.
Oh, awesome. Well, the app comes with when you purchase the rescue portion. So the Caregiver Rescue was really important to me to start with. The other one's coming soon, the full component of everything. And then the business component will be next. But the Caregiver Rescue was important because I thought caregivers aren't prepared. And sometimes we think, okay, as the caregiver, Dad, I need to get your will done. Or, Dad, we need to make sure you have your power of attorney done. But we don't really know what else they need to do. We know a simple few things. But as a caregiver, you don't even have your own stuff together. You don't have your will or power of attorney, or you don't have a backup plan, so to speak, for what happens when something happens to you. So I thought I would create this Caregiver Rescue package that helps the caregiver as well as the person, the patient, whoever that might be that you're looking after, to ensure that they get their wishes down on paper, that they know what documents are needed beforehand, possibly, or during. I hate for people to find out after the fact that, the dementia's gone too far and they can't get that done, and it costs a lot more. If I'm trying to save you money, basically, because after the fact, it costs a lot of money.
Yes.
So yeah, and if you don't know what you need to get ready, maybe you have to go in and clean their house up. Maybe you have to put it in storage. Maybe you have to do an estate sale. Maybe they want to stay at home. We talk about, in the program, we talk about the after. Do you want to go out of the home for care? What options there are? What happens with dementia a little bit. I don't go into great medical things, but different instances perhaps that can highlight frustrations that you might be having. I talk about worksheets that are in the program that you need to complete, possibly even with other caregivers, maybe setting up a plan for yourself to have respite so that you can have someone else come in, or somebody that you can have come in and clean, whatever it needs for your own self-care as well. So it's just a complete package so that you don't have to think or maneuver through this journey that we get stuck in sometimes without even our knowledge. Sometimes it just goes in our lap. And it's after where it gets really frustrating and you think, why did I agree to this now? What was my reasoning for saying, yes, I'll do this? Because
I think it would be helpful for caregivers and people who aren't just to have a plan.
Yes.
Really, I think, and I think of it more now that I'll be 65, which I have trouble wrapping my brain around that. But, I do. I think about, what's going to happen to me, what will happen to Josh. And, having a plan in place is very important. And preparing for the future is extremely important. Yes, we live in the present. And yes, we live in the moment. But you know what? You have to have your eye on the future, too. And you have to plan ahead. Don't wait for a crisis, folks. I've seen it. You've seen it, Tina. People wait till they're in crisis mode. Oh, I got to place my mom or dad. I got to place my husband or wife or partner. I don't know what to do. And then they're rushing around like chickens with their heads cut off. It's
and
very
costs more too, usually at the last minute, right?
Yes.
Because you didn't put your name on a waiting list, maybe, or you didn't have a plan, so you didn't have the time to plan ahead and put your name on a waiting list, perhaps in that special place that you wanted to put them in, because you waited, and then it was too late, and you only get what you get.
Yeah, and I'm sure up in Canada it's the same way in the United States, that unfortunately in some places you have to wait for someone to die to get a bed. And it's best to put start looking at places and put your name down, and if your name comes up, you could always decline it and put your name back on there again. But, I've heard it over and over again, and people just aren't prepared. It's not, folks, that we're morbid. It's not that Tina and I are not morbid. We know that things can happen literally in a blink of an eye. We know that people face crisis every day. And, of course, most of the time, who plans a crisis? Nobody. Nobody does. But it happens. Yesterday, I was at a red light, and I'm telling you, this Mercedes come whooping around that corner. I thought he was going to hit me head on.
Yeah.
The look on my face, I was like, don't hit me. You don't know. You could be at a red light, folks, and get hit. You could be waiting at a train station, and these nuts will push you into the train. And it's not that I'm paranoid for saying this. This is happening in New York City. We need to be prepared for the future. And do people contact you personally, Tina, to join, or do they go on the website?
They just go on the website, and I've put the offer, the early bird special, on until it launches on January 1st for the Caregiver Rescue program, and it will ensure that both you, your patient, whoever you're looking after, and the person, the caregiver themselves, have a program that they can put together for themselves. So it's like 2 for 1, basically, because I felt it was part and parcel. I mean, yes, you are looking after someone else, but we always forget about ourselves. And it's important to think about the what if for that as well. What if I went to the grocery store to get groceries and now I'm in a coma in the hospital? What happens to the person I'm looking after?
Yes. Yes, very true. That's true. I used to have a bracelet. I think it was, what's the name of that company? I want to say Medical Alert, but I'm not sure, for Matt. like I had a bracelet I wore to let people know if something happened to me, there's somebody at home that needs help.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because after a while, Matt he wasn't going to wear a necklace or a bracelet. He would take it off. So I had it so that, and then after a while, Matt didn't go out of the house unless he was with me. So, but I wore it all the time, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I should just leave it in my car. And then someone said, what happens if you're in a grocery store and you get shot at and your bracelet's in the car? And you know what? I didn't think about that. That could happen. That does sound awful.
And you don't. World do we live in now?
Yeah. You don't think of these things, but then you hear of shootings at a supermarket and in a mall. And, it's a shame. It's really a shame that I had to tell my son and think about what do we do if there's an active shooter at a mall and we are not with each other because we split up.
Right.
What do you do? I mean, it's a shame, folks. It is. It's sad that we have to do this. It's sad that when I was in working in the preschool, we had to have like a terrorist training. What do you do when someone comes into the building? I got so emotional. I was tearing up, thinking to put the names and addresses on these children's bodies. It made me just sick to my stomach thinking about it. But unfortunately, this is the world we live in. And you really need to be prepared. And I'll tell you, Tina and I can't say that enough, that really you need to be prepared. Tina, do you do any consulting or coaching?
Yeah, we have webinars. There's webinars that you can be a part of, especially when you do join the Caregiver Rescue Program. You'll have webinars every month that you can come on that we talk about different topics. One might be, just how to have a family conversation. How does that look? How do you do that? And I give you some tips and tricks, and we actually go through a whole family conversation with appies and even drinks if you want, or dinner, or whatever it might be that you want this to look like. But it just to make it fun, kind of like game night. I wanted to make it, like where we just go around the table and talk about, well, what do you think you would want to have happen, and just make it a topic of conversation for the game period of time, and get it over with and answer the questions and do the worksheet, and ta-da, it's all finished. So I talk about that in webinars. We talk about leaving a legacy in webinars, what types of things that your favorite recipes, starting to put those together maybe for your loved ones, or what your handwriting looks like, or singing a song, or playing music, or writing poetry, or books, or art, or whatever it might be. But it's so much fun because there's so many different people with different ideas of what they would like to do. And so they share it, and then it gives other people other ideas of things they would like to start doing. And, because, once we're gone, we're gone. And the people that knew us remember, but after that, we're just nobody, just falls away.
Yeah.
So why not leave something behind that the next generations can remember?
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be money. It can be all sorts of wonderful things. It can be a knitted sock that you knitted, or a video that you did, or poetry that you wrote. They're all very special, especially after you go, because there's nothing like, I always talk about seeing, touching, and smelling, because it might be, what Grandma used to wear for perfume, or the aftershave, or that favorite scarf that she always wore, or the shirt still smells like your partner. when you take it out of the closet, and you can. Sometimes people make cushions or pillows with them. So that
yes,
they can hug
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I made, I didn't make it, but I got 2 teddy bears made out of Matt's clothes for Josh and I.
Oh, nice.
In a quilt of his T-shirts, and Matt's T-shirts I got made.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah. Because so many people have so many T-shirts.
Yes.
It's a great idea. Yeah, so we talk about all of those things, not just financial and not just, yuckiness of I don't want to talk about that stuff, but fun things too, and just make it so planning is just part of what you talk about or think about, because you don't know when a storm is going to hit, and what do I even have in my grab and go bag, or any of those things. I mean, there's floods and all sorts of things that you need for insurance, and that's all in the app.
That sounds great, Tina. You're the woman.
Oh.
You are phenomenal. I told you, folks, I think Tina's extra phenomenal, but I'm a little biased.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, for your backup plan app, that's on the same website as the Caregiver Rescue app? They could just go to one website then?
They just go to the link, and then it will all be eventually on there, because remember, it's just going to launch, so it's all very new coming out.
Right.
The app's been out for a little while, so it's been well used. But the Caregiver Rescue is going to be your own individual, basically like a DIY. You do it on your own, but then you have me for one-on-one consulting or webinar consulting, or just having fun once a month and coming on about a new topic or a new interview that I had, and it's a good theme for the month. So it's nice to be around people that are planning and have great ideas and think the same. We all love to network like that.
Yeah, well, that sounds great, Tina. And folks, the Caregiver Rescue will be January 1st, 2023. Oh, that sounds so weird to say 2023. But you know what? January's around the corner. In 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, it's going to be November. So January is not that far away. My son keeps reminding me how many weeks till Thanksgiving. So, once Thanksgiving hits, really before you know it, then it's the new year. So I would definitely, I highly recommend going on to Tina Ginn's link. What's your link, Tina? Can you tell the audience? It will be in the blog also.
Yeah, it's that Linktree, your backup plan under Linktree. It will be on your description, I guess. My website is yourbackupPlan.ca. And everything will be listed on there as well. I haven't put the Caregiver Rescue program in that yet, but it has its own link on the Linktree.
I'll tell you what, folks, the Linktree website, the link, will be in the blog. So read the blog, and I'll tell you, I went on it, and everything's there. Tina's podcast, everything, where she's located, Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, wherever she's located, it's there on the Linktree link, which will be in the blog. So Jeannie White, who's station manager, writes the blog. Thank you, Jeannie, and produces the show. So make sure, I always encourage everyone to read the blog. It has information that will help you. And I want to thank you, Tina, for coming on, and I wish you best of luck and much success with your Caregiver Rescue. Sounds great to me.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. It's much needed, I think.
Yes.
It's a journey that we don't really plan for, and we get thrown into, and felt it. There was a real need to to help people.
Yes, yes. And Tina's all about helping people, folks. And I really want to encourage you all to look up Tina's podcast. It's on YouTube and wherever you hear podcasts. But look at the video on YouTube because I just like it. And Tina's on TikTok. Your videos just sometimes crack me up. But I don't. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know how you get on there. I just happen to see people's TikToks, but Tina's on TikTok, and I just think that everyone would really enjoy your show. And I am very happy when I, recommend a guest and I see them on your show because I know that it would be beneficial to your audience as well as to mine. And that's why we're here, folks, to help people. And Tina's here to help you. I'm here to help you. We think we're all alone in the world and how we feel, and we're not. I could tell you there's many, many others that feel the same way. They're just afraid to say it because, everyone's afraid of being judged. But there's many people who feel the same way. They feel they're alone in their situation. I'm here to tell you you're not alone. Chatting with Betsy is about resources and helping you have a better life, to inform you of people who can help you. Tina's show has guests on that can help you. We are here to help you, so you're not alone. And I want to thank you again, Tina, for coming on. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO of Pastoral Talk Radio, who makes this all possible. I want to thank you, listeners, for listening. Please share this show to help other people. That's what Chatting with Betsy is about. And it's also about carrying on in my husband Matt's memory. So when you share the show, you are helping me carrying on my mission, which is honoring my husband Matt's memory. So I thank you all for that. And it's free to subscribe to Chatting with Betsy. You're welcome. You're welcome. Where am I? I'm on iHeart, Spreaker, and Amazon Music is where you will find me. And YouTube does, if you look up Betsy Wurzel, W-U-R-Z-E-L, excuse me, you will see me on YouTube on different, actually even on different people's shows. So, and my Facebook page is Betsy E. Wurzel, W-U-R-Z-E-L, and you can also look me up on Facebook. So I want to thank everyone for listening again. And as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you could be anything, folks, please be kind. Shine your light bright, because if we were kind and we shined our light, it would be a much peaceful and brighter world. And I truly do believe that. So until we chat again, take care, be safe, be well. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Pastoral Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.